most people never get there. They want to point fingers and blame everybody, right? That's the victim. You have to take responsibility. It's your thoughts, it's your words, it's your emotions that's creating the reality. So take responsibility. Take responsibility, right? If you don't like what you've got, what your reality is, then take responsibility for those. And it starts to change. Now, as far as the couples goes, the biggest challenge once people get tapped into the realms that I'm talking about is that it can be very alluring and very addictive. Because when you can pull things off that are miraculous, like I did this, like, I don't know, 2 weeks ago or something like that, I did a little mini launch, you know, and in 15 days, I made like 50 grand in 2 weeks, right? And for most people, that doesn't seem possible because they might work for an entire year full time to make 50,000. But once people learn how to do it and that they can make 50 grand in 2 weeks, their subconscious mind starts to go, now they got data, right? So 50 grand in 2 weeks, it goes 100 grand in a month, that's 1.2 million in a year. And now they go, well, why, instead of, you know, doing nothing tonight, let's do more work, because if we do it faster, maybe we can make even more than that. So they start to lose themselves and lose the relationship into the business because they've got no separation. They don't have business and then quality time. Their whole life becomes business. And it can be very dangerous to a relationship because now as your team gets bigger, you want to travel, you want to do events, and you want to do, now your whole life is your business, everything. And you never really escape it, right? And as you make more money, you know, you want more cool things and whatnot, travel and freedom and blah, blah, blah. And now you can start to lose some of the romance. So you really have to set rules. You really have to set rules if you want to be able to have success. You've got to be able to, some couples will do it so that they have their own kind of special sauce thing that they like. So one guy might do paid traffic and solo ads, and then the wife might do Instagram, and they both have their own thing, or Pinterest. Or somebody is really good on video, but the other person is really good on Facebook ads. So, you know, if you have kind of your own special sauces that are different, that's one of the things that can kind of help to separate, right? To keep you on your own little special sauce path, because you've got your own followers and your own thing. So instead of branding together, they brand kind of separate. So this, the husband has his path and the wife has her path, but, you know, together they complement each other. Make sense?
It does. Makes perfect sense.
You know, some couples will, you know, their Facebook page is like, you know, Joe Sam. You know what I mean? It's like one's Joe, one's Sam, and they call themselves Joe Sam, right? On their Facebook. So they've got a combo identity in everything. People start to see them as one thing instead of separate things, right? And everybody's got to kind of find their own little niche of what works best. But I think the biggest thing is, you know, you definitely want to schedule date night, 100%, okay? If you don't schedule a date night and you start losing the romance in your relationship and you don't know when to cut it off, you have to be able to get to the point where you can switch it on, switch it off. Like at a certain point, you have to almost have a rule that at this point in time, now it's family time, you don't take any calls, you don't look at your email, you get off of Facebook, and now it's the, you know, you and your spouse time, or you and the family time. Where it can get, you know, back into the danger zone is when the money starts coming and you want to make it happen faster, right? So instead of working 1 day, you work 2 days for 1 day, right? Now, for me, I'm a single dad, and my son doesn't live with me. He lives in California. He's going to the Army and Navy Academy. And so I don't have that. And I love working, so I do that. Like I literally will get up in the morning and I'll work until I, go to sleep type thing. And I love that. I love doing that, but I also love to be able to, like I went to Manila for 2 months this year and just took off. I take my laptop and my Wi-Fi connection and I can work from anywhere. So, it really has to do with your, once again, preferred state. So so a lot of people work because they want freedom. Okay, here's freedom for me. I can go to bed when I feel tired and I can wake up whenever I feel rested. So last night, as an example, I'd put in a couple late nights and I was pretty tired. My body was tired. So I probably went to sleep around 1:15 or something else. Well, I didn't get out of bed today till 11 o'clock. No big deal. My body regenerated during that time. And now I get up and boom, I go off and do whatever I do, right? Some days I won't do anything. I'll go for a drive. I'll go get my Mercedes washed or my GTO, or, I'll just kind of go to the park, connect with nature, connect with the trees, right? Go out for lunch, maybe, take my computer with me, do a little bit of stuff, throw it in the back seat, drive around a little bit, go look at houses. So it's that feeling of being free, truly free, right? And I love that. I pick a bunch of locations around town, and I just, I might go to lunch at one place and sit there for 3 or 4 hours with my computer, right? Pack it up and then go someplace else.
Because you feel free. I mean, that's your experience of the freedom.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So anyway, hopefully that's, answered your questions and given you guys some value and
then some. On the couple topic, is it the word balance? As I was listening to you now, I just had this sense of balance within oneself, and then there's an additional balance, isn't there, as a couple in a relationship? And the balance, as I heard you describe it, was the work life, the personal life, the romance, the business, and finding a way that those two can balance and complement rather than undermine, right? Rather than weaken.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we
got, and there's something really important too in when you're working in an environment where a couple is working in a situation where they're kind of in a fishbowl, okay? What can happen, especially with personality types and everything, people can try to play your spouse against you. I've seen it happen a lot in our industry. The people that are out there, right? They will try to play the spouse against the other spouse. Or from the other side, the spouses, themselves, the husband and the wife, as they get more in front of the room and more powerful, they step into their ego. And then they kind of undermine each other. They kind of will, do little jabs or stuff in front of other people to give them the upper hand. It's really weird to witness it, but I've seen it a lot. So it's both sides. It's people playing the people against each other, and it's also the husband and wife doing that. You know what I'm talking about? Have you ever seen a couple out and the one has to be right? That's their ego.
Yeah, it turns competitive rather than a true collaboration. You start to get a sense of a competitiveness.
Yeah, and they want to be able to take the credit, like they did that, and oh yeah, well that was because of my thing, and that was my idea, and then they start to battle on who did the most, and it's really weird. That's why for me, I've got really, really specific goals right now for me to go to that next level. Everybody's got these certain things. And for me, it works best just being, my relationship really is truly with my business right now anyway, because that's just what works. And ultimately, when I do finally, settle down and get into a more serious relationship, I'm going to have to be with a woman that is an entrepreneur that is free as well. Because I don't want to be stuck in one spot. You know, I want to be able to have that freedom to go from this place to that place. And unless they're hooked up to the internet, I don't see how that could ever work. Because if you're working a conventional 9-to-5 job, you have to stay in one city. Well, I don't want that. I mean, who would be able to just take 2 months off and go to Manila with me? How would that work? It wouldn't, right? So as things happen and you evolve, you get more, you know, specific on what it is that you want for your preferred state, right? For your preferred state.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that, right? And we will never necessarily be without an individual preferred state, even when we are with a couple or a business partner or other dynamics of a couple, right? If I hear you correctly, in your experience, you can't go to the couple preferred state without being solid in your own self-aware individual choice of a preferred state. It has to build on that, right? And add to it.
Yeah. And, you know, like a lot of people, and everybody's different, right? Like I don't have a mortgage payment. I don't have car payments. I don't have any sort of credit card debt or anything like that. But I've got really big dreams for me to be in my preferred state. Like I want 3 different locations. I can spend 4 months here, 4 months there, 4 months there, 4 months there, 4 months there, 4 months there. And, you know, and I'm okay with that. You know, I think that other people are less okay than it's my life. Like I'm totally happy. You know what I mean? Like it's, you know, it's bizarre. And that's kind of bizarre. But, you know, everybody's different. And there's no right way or wrong way. That's the thing to understand. So it's only what's right for you in your world, because it's your reality. And if you can be in your preferred state of being to get where you want, now you can come into a relationship in a much better scenario, right? Instead of bringing all the baggage with you. A lot of people get into relationships when they shouldn't, when they have way too much baggage. They're better off to deal with the baggage first and then come in clear.
I want your take on my usual close to these interviews. I usually emphasize this concept, this experience that I have had and I'm still having, which I refer to as because together we overcome. And yet what you've brought now with this quantum awareness, the preferred state, I'm curious how you would coin that. Is my meaning clear when I say together we overcome? I mean like a married couple, like parents to those 12 to 15-year-olds that you wish to influence, that the two, the mother, the father, that together they can overcome. But how would you speak it, Darren, with this awareness and your preferred state and your personal experience? How would you coin that? Would you say
it's actually called co-creation. Co-creation. Each one of us, like, okay, so we basically are in the spiritual world. We start in the spiritual world, we come into the physical experience, the human experience, and then we leave back to where we came from in the spiritual world. So it's like the ocean. You take 2 cups and you dip it into the water and you pour them back out back in the ocean. So, but as humans, we co-create experiences together. And if you can co-create preferred states together, that's the ultimate situation. So for me, my goal is to be able to find people that I like being around, that I like hanging out with, that I have fun with, that I eventually want to travel with. So you got these really cool people. They're all peak performers. They're all you know, 7-figure income earners, multiple 7-figure income, some are 8-figure income earners, and you have that freedom lifestyle. And then, you know, what we'll do is like, we'll go to, you know, Manila, and then we'll all go to Boracay and we'll rent a house, right? That's like a mansion that's on the water. And, you know, we'll do a lot of content creation during that time, a lot of videos. We'll do some masterminding. We might create a product together, right? And it's a really amazing, it's hard to explain that until you actually live it. But when you can just take off anytime you want, go to a place and have all these other people that are free too, and then co-create together, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing.
So that together we overcome is already overcome, and you're in the company of others where the overcoming has been overcome. So it's together we're co-creating.
Yes, there's nothing really to overcome. What's to overcome? You got no mortgage, you got no car payments, but you got no bills. The bills are already all, you know, self-sufficient. And then what you've got to do is you typically have a money management team. Like I've got a, you know, team of traders and stuff that handle my portfolio. And you know, then it's just, what's the next deal going to be? What's the next thing that you're going to do? And who are you going to partner with on the next one? And you roll something out, do another campaign, right? And then launch it. Typically what I do is I incorporate a lot of systems. So what we'll do is we have a Facebook group, and in the Facebook group, there's a file section. In the file section, there's, you know, recorded training that everybody goes through. And that allows you to be able to start removing yourself. So the leader will typically help to bring up students. The students become leaders, and that's the job of the leader, to create more leaders, right? So once you put yourself into a situation where you're creating more leaders that are all duplicating you, then you start to see these pods form, right, within your team. That's when you know that you're on the right path. So typically, like if I look at say the last, I don't know, 8 months or so that are on this one deal, the team collectively did like 1.233 million in commissions, and I personally did maybe 183,000. So the leader should only be about 10 to 15% of the whole team. Okay, so if the leader is 80% and everyone else is getting the crumbs collectively all together, that's not right. So the leader's either off balance, or they're not with the right company, or, you know, it's just not a good scenario. So what I typically will do is put systems together, some sort of an automated system. So you got lead capture page, video, and autoresponder series that everybody gets as when they buy your system. And then you've got the Facebook group, and you've got your file section with all of your training and everything in it, and it becomes very systematic. Okay, so I don't have to spend the same amount of time that most leaders would. I just welcome a person to the team, showcase their picture, and now there's this avalanche of energy that comes from my team, right, over to the new person. Welcome on board, welcome to the team, right? And then we give them the directions on where to go to get the training, and they get plugged in. And then the leader is typically going to be responsible for putting together all the pages, all the broadcast pages, all the branding, all the stuff for the team. Everything has to be cookied, right, for the whole team. So you got to, you know, / ID equals blah, 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 and then the whole thing converts. And then basically what you've got to do is, you know, the leaders actually pay for all that. In every case, every time we roll out a deal, leaders pay for it all up front. They do all the graphic design, all the copywriting, all the stuff, and then you literally give your team the stuff, right? And eventually, when they keep on, you know, looking over your shoulder, eventually they'll be able to do it. But in the early stages, it's mostly what we call piggyback marketing. Then that's piggybacking off the 7-figure income earners, and eventually, you know, you'd be rolling out your own brand, your own team, your own thing, right? But in the early stages, it's kind of under the umbrella of the leaders and the systems that they have.
I mean, that detailed for me, this frame of reference, together we overcome. It sounds like there is the overcoming, but you don't even need to emphasize that word, right, as a preferred state of being, because it's already overcome, as you said, and it's truly a together we co-create at that point. And I hear a very powerful, larger collective that is able to co-create together.
Yeah, there's really no overcoming once you're, okay, I mean, imagine this. You got no mortgage, you got no car payments, you got no bills. The only thing you got is insurance for your car, your telephone, your cell phone, right? And then travel expenses. That's it, right? And if you want to go out and, you know, get some cool thing or some cool clothes or whatever, rock and roll, but other than that, you know, you're past the other side of, you work for fun instead of working because you have to. You work for your passion and the transformations. The transformations are actually what fuel your commitment. is seeing the single mom go from, you know, struggling or almost bankruptcy to a $10,000 a month the first month, or the 17-year-old kid that's never been out of Scotland, but now he's got a passport and he can travel the world. You know, that's what you live for. That's your driver. That is your, I mean, I just get waved. Look at my arm right now, just talking about it. It's like stands up on, right? And that's the energy force. And once you can surrender to that and allow the river to flow through you, allow the abundance to flow into your life, love yourself enough to not feel, you know, that most of this human population is actually addicted to suffering. It's like a drug. It's like heroin. They're addicted, okay? It's bizarre to witness this. People say that they want freedom, but they love struggle. And they say that they say they don't, but they actually do, okay? These are the numbers. If you want to know what the numbers are, here's the numbers, unless you move up in higher levels of personal development. Out of 100 people, 80%, okay, 80% do nothing. It's the 80-20 rule, okay? So 20% of the work comes, or the stuff that gets, 80% of the work comes from 20% of the people, okay? So let's take 100 people. So out of the 100 people, as time goes on, only 20 of the 100 actually show up for millionaire mentoring, okay? Of the 20 that are there, 20% actually take action, right, and do something. And out of the 4 of the 20, right, 20% or 1 takes massive action and actually follows the directions. So it's 1 out of every 100 that has a rags to riches story. And that's only because of that. In the event that the 80 could move into the 20 and make it 30 or 40, those numbers get bigger. So typically, if I was to roll out something and I'm working with 100 people, I might have more like, you know, 8 rags to riches stories, you know, versus 1, because the people are so pulled in and intrigued by the quantum physics aspect of it. And I really focus on that. That's my special sauce. My special sauce is the matrix. My special sauce is quantum physics. And I teach people how to play, how the game works. So that's what brings them in. And when they go through that training, they go next level. It's completely amazing to witness it, because the miracles start happening. You're like, holy cow, how the frick did that happen? Right? It happened because now you're co-creating with other people that are learning what you know, and then you work together to make something bigger.
And the overcoming, I mean, right? Because you are bringing people in who have something to overcome, but it just sounds like there's no need to emphasize it. It's almost in the river, the sponge, the stone used to have to overcome.
They got to overcome their fear.
Okay, so then that's the switch from a stone to a sponge is overcoming the fear, and then you're no longer overcoming. You're able.
I mean, imagine this. Okay, imagine this. Imagine that there's the sky, right? I've got this one particular picture. It's like just sky and clouds, and there's this pathway that's going across to infinity. It's just this trail is going across the clouds. Okay, and the person is standing right on the edge, okay?
Fear, right? Fear.
You have to walk forward in complete blind faith and know the stair will appear underneath your feet as you're going, okay? So it's like when Neo was on the building, right? And Morpheus was like, right? And he said, don't look down, your fear. He had to overcome his fear. And when he got halfway through, he looked down, right? He was down on the ground, right? Same thing when they were fighting. So, you know, what Neo wasn't realizing was that he was actually creating the reality. He was creating all of his pain. He had the power to have no pain, but he kept on choosing the path of pain and getting beat up from Morpheus, okay? Even when Morpheus told him, and he gave him the ability to have anything, They went into the white room and they thought of something and brrr, right? All the stuff created automatically. Whatever they thought about, brrr, right, to infinity. That's what people don't get. That shit's not science fiction. It's freaking real. They don't get it. Even when I tell the people, here's how it works. Even when they say, Darren, show me your formula. I do. But they don't believe that it could happen for them. Right? They can't get control.
Right? The limit of your belief is as far as you can go.
Yeah, if you can't get control of your thoughts, words, and emotions, you're screwed. You're screwed. You'll always be a victim. You'll always be the boat thrown this way and thrown that way and thrown this way, right? You'll never actually be steering your own ship in the matrix. It's not possible, right? Because you're part of the problem. The problem is coming from your head. The problem's coming from your words. The problem's coming from what you're emotionally connected to. I'm thinking that it's not going to work. So are you getting anything that what you believe to be true? No, you're getting what you believe to be true, right? Some people say to me, well, here's the opposite sides of a spectrum. Oh man, that sounds way too easy. That sounds way too easy. It is. So they don't believe they don't believe that it could happen because it sounds too easy. So they never do anything. Okay, there's 5 simple steps to wealth creation that I teach in my Unleash the Alpha Within training, right? And they're so simple to implement that a lot of people stay stuck and their ego will not allow them to take action because it seems too freaking simple. What? You know?
They want to earn it, right? They want to earn it with the sweat of their brow, and you're telling them, we don't need any sweat on your brow.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like that, right? So, but because of their data, okay, from their parents, you got to work hard for your money. Blood, sweat, tears, right? A penny saved is a penny earned. Money doesn't grow on trees. Actually, it does. It grows instantaneously. You know, you can literally manifest money out of thin air. Right? In fact, a lot of times when I do 3 universal deposits a day, right? Not necessarily as long as this one, but I might do, like a half an hour or something like that. But if you make 3 universal deposits a day into other people's lives, you get a pay raise. It's a universal law. Okay. So when I'm teaching people about affirmations versus proclamations. Affirmations are positive. Proclamations are emotional. Big difference, right? Mm-hmm. I could say I'm driving an Aston Martin, or I could say I'm driving an Aston Martin. Big difference, right? The second one's got the whole body involved, right? That's emotion, thought-directed emotion, right? So, but a lot of times when I'm doing my universal deposits, people are enrolling into my business and people are witnessing it happening live. And they're like, who is that guy? I have no idea. How do you sign up? I don't know. How do you find out about you? I have no idea. Or I watched a YouTube video, went to a link, saw maybe a broadcast, maybe a thing, maybe watched the broadcast from last night on Black Ops. I have no idea. But they start to show up when you are making a difference in other people's lives.
Your signal, right? Your signal is broadcast out on each of these universal deposits. You say 3 times a day, and this is one of them. Your signal's going out, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it's the easiest way to, tune the body into this whole process. It's the easiest way is to just be talking about it. It's the easiest way to be talking about it.
This is almost your right? This is your maintenance program every day. It sounds like through the giving, you are regularly with the goosebumps, and you said the energy, right? I mean, so it almost sounds like this is how you really maintain it, isn't it?
Absolutely it is. Because okay, so every time I talk about the wave particle theory, bam, my body goes. Every time I talk about the electrons being in superposition, right? So the more I speak about it, the more it becomes my reality. So, you know, because of the fact that I know that this is really real and it really is this way, and I'm talking about it constantly, it goes next level on its own. Right? I'm shown other things in the game. It's like, okay, imagine this. You're playing Super Mario Brothers and they only have 10 levels. And you're basically at level 10, you're like playing it like this because you've mastered it so much. So you're having a conversation over here with this guy and you're playing over here with Super Mario Brothers. You're not even looking at the screen anymore. Or you're doing the Rubik's Cube blindfolded behind your back, right? What happens after that? Another gateway opens. There's a new level. Okay, now you don't get to the next levels unless you're mastering these ones. It's not possible, right? And right when you think that you've got it mastered, whack, you get tested to see if you really know how it works.